Call to order the meeting of Monday, September 24th. If the clerk would please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford. Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Councilmember Warden.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here. Mayor Pro Tem Ashford is absent this evening. She's representing the city through the Blue Water Transportation Commission at a conference. You have the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of September the 10th before you. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Archibald. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lamb. Is there any additions or deletions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes stand as submitted. We will move on to public hearings. If the clerk would please read the first one.
To hear comments on the establishment of an obsolete property rehabilitation act district for the property located at 1026 Military Street. Following the hearing, the council will consider a resolution to establish the district.
Open it up to anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to public hearing number 1. If you come forward and give us your name, please.
Hi, good evening. Rick Bareka, one of the partners of Hip Hip Huron, who's acquiring the Harrington tomorrow, actually. So thank you all for the opportunity to come here tonight. We're very excited about getting started on this project, and think it's going to be a great asset to the work we're doing down in St. Clair. We're excited. We're going to get started right away. I don't know if everybody knows what the plans are, but right now, conceptually, we're working on plans to turn it into a 78-room, 3.5-star hotel. We're currently talking to, well, we have an agreement with Best Western Premier, but we're also talking to Marriott to fold it into the Marriott flag along with the St. Clair Inn. We plan on starting immediately once we get a demo permit. We're going to start clearing out the contents and moving forward with getting the property opened, hopefully by the time we open the inn, which is scheduled for sometime July of next year. Very appreciative of the city's assistance in helping us solve some problems that we had, and we're excited to get started. Happy to answer any questions that the council has or the audience has, and pleased to be able to work here in Port Huron.
Well, thank you. It's a great asset, and we thank you for turning it into a 70-room hotel. That's good for our community, and thank you very much.
Sure.
Is there anyone on council who wishes to ask any questions before he sits down?
Great.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to public hearing number 1? Declare public hearing number 1 closed and ask for a motion to approve the district.
So moved.
Councilmember Harris, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Archibald. Is there any discussion? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Public hearing number 2.
To hear comments on the application for an obsolete property rehabilitation exemption certificate for 1026 Military Street for 9 years. Following the hearing, the council will consider a resolution approving the application.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to public hearing number 2? Seeing no one, I'll declare the hearing closed and ask for a motion to actually approve the application.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Archibald. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lamb. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, I'll just point out that this is for a $12.7 million investment. The developers have indicated that they will create about 60 jobs on site. This is for 9 years. The reason why we're doing 9 years instead of 6 years, as we typically do, is that this project did not qualify for additional brownfield funding, as many other projects has. For instance, City Flats Hotel received a brownfield and also an OPRA. This is just an OPRA, so we extended it past the typical 6 years to 9 years to compensate for that. But that was the reason for that. Thank you.
Thank you. We will take the vote.
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Warden.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a couple comments. Number one, I appreciate you guys coming and taking on this project in our city. The Harrington Inn is, it's iconic. It's got so much long history there. And for you guys to come forward and actually see, the vision and $12.7 million, I mean, that's, appreciate what you're doing down in the St. Clair area as well. And those guys have, kind of shared the vision of the area, and luckily enough to draw you guys' attention up here to such a great piece. And I do want to say these type of tools, like we just approved the Oprah district, and now given the certificate for the property taxpayers of somebody coming in, purchasing and putting $12.7 million toward the renovation of that facility. It's an incredible tool that I strongly approve with this type of investment, and I wish you the best of luck. And I, again, welcome to our town. Thank you very much.
We're very appreciative. And just to give you a little bit of support in terms of these decisions that we make when we decide where to invest, and for us to come to you and ask for your support. Sherwin-Williams was out here last week. They've agreed to buy the tax credits for the project. They don't do that sort of haphazardly. They looked at the community. They looked at all of the things that were going on. They have a very definitive investment plan. It's not a fund. It's their money that they are essentially investing $3 million in this community. And when they left, they were, completely sold. So I just would say that as a sort of a pat on the back to see what's going on, that they've done tax credit deals all over the country. So it was very nice to see that they saw the same vision and were willing to make that kind of investment as well.
Oh, very good.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, real quick as well, Rick, I just want to thank you for the numerous meetings we had negotiating this agreement. I appreciate your willingness to work with not only the business community down there. I also want to thank Mayor Repp. This was a very complex deal, putting together these types of applications, and Mayor Repp graciously came to the negotiation sessions and helped me and my team negotiate so this would match the history of the city, what we've done before. So I appreciate the mayor taking the extra time to help me with this process on this one. It was complex, and I need your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris.
just a comment. At the building trades meeting last Friday, besides the other projects that they've gone on, I know the building trades are real happy with to see the construction that's going on. And yes, the Harrington site was mentioned because some of the job workers are going to be ending up working there. So it's a big plus for the whole county. So it's a good step forward. Thank you.
Any other discussion? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Thank you very much. Now is the time for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening, you can come forward with your name, and you have 4 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Ron Stewart. I live at 3120 North Range Road. Mr. Freed, Mayor Rep, City Council members, on behalf of the Main Street Memories Car Show Committee, we'd like to extend a sincere thank you to everyone for making this year's show a huge success. We had kind remarks from attendees, the volunteers, the vendors, financial contribution from 174 local businesses this year, all demonstrate our community's overwhelming support for this event and motivate us to pledge an even bigger event for 2019. With a final count of 438 registered vehicles, the 50/50 raffle and various other activities, the event raised $22,000 for the Council on Aging in one day. When added to the previous 2 years, it's a grand total of $37,000 in 3 years. That money goes to things such as Meals on Wheels, Star Path Adult Daycare Services, transportation for the elderly and disabled, and in-home services for seniors and their families throughout St. Clair County. Your support this year is very much appreciated by everyone on the board and Council on Aging. We appreciate your help in helping us reduce the cost and cleaning up the downtown area. That was very much appreciated by everyone. So together, we're bringing people together to support our local businesses and to have fun benefiting a great charity. Our goal for 2019 is 500 cars. We're going to cross the Military Street Bridge and head south, hopefully reach Union Street. By crossing the bridge, we will now start getting the sponsors on the south side of the bridge involved. They're down there, we want to get them involved. With the amount of cars we had this year, just parked on the side street, we would have ended up somewhere between the Raven and Kerr Albert this year. But we didn't want to attempt it this year until we knew that we could do it. So next year, our goal is 500, and we want to work with everybody, and we want to go across the bridge. So again, everybody on Main Street Memories Car Show Committee, we appreciate your help and support of the community and the downtown businesses, and we look forward to working with everyone next year.
Thank you. It was a great event.
Thank
You
you.
did a great job. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the city council this evening? If they want to come forward, and you do have 4 minutes.
My name is Philip Reisner, Board here in Michigan. I'm here concerning a matter that was taken up 2 weeks ago concerning a Resolution 18-177. I am taken back because I was not notified concerning this, because it has to do with me. And I have actually wrote the council requesting that that particular resolution be vacated because there are certain statements made in it. They're unfactual, and because of that, I want to have it vacated and to be returned as it was before. There's just some issues that I have concerning the street department. I can't get anybody to come out there. From one thing, I don't even think they worked on the right property when they billed me. That is, the picture they sent me is not even the property. So since Mr. Conan, who is the contractor that went back out and supposedly redid what I was supposed to have done pursuant to the resolution, and I did all that without a permit. Is anybody going to make a complaint about that? No, I didn't touch it. So because of these things, I would like for the council to vacate the resolution until I can get Mr. Conan in a court of law where we can determine what he actually did, and we can just hold him accountable for all this stuff that the resolution says that he did. Also, I got this here. This is the check. The check ain't made out for the right amount, and last week, the last hearing, and I'm not faulting Mr. Shouty for this, he only operated on what was told him from the street department. This stuff about me, thousands and thousands of dollars, and we send the money back. I'm going to send every check you send to me when it ain't the right amount. I've got $7,000 in this thing, and I'll put another $7,000 in it. Now, this city is going to straighten its act up, or we're going to go into real mega lawsuits. I'd like for Mr. Shouty to possibly call me. I'll try to be as civil as possible. We can resolve this matter and try to be as amiable as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience this evening who wishes to address the council? You have 4 minutes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Mayor
evening.
Rep, City Council members. My name's Garth Golden Gonzi, and I'm running for office. You probably already know. I'm here tonight. Well, I want to commend you all. I really do think you all do a great job. I do think you do a great job too, Ms. Rep, even though I'm challenging you for your seat. I also commend you all for running for office and putting your name out there. I really think that's very noble. But I'm only here tonight to, I have noticed that throughout the city, I mean, I got a lot of support. I got endorsements from a lot of the party strollers, the balls, residents, and my signs seem to be disappearing. 20th Street stroll sign just disappeared, all down Griswold Street, my signs disappeared. I know that on Griswold Street, it's a larger boulevard, and some of the signs were probably on the boulevard, but I think they felt like it being a larger boulevard, it was okay. But I see people sitting on this council right now whose signs are on boulevards, and I question where they're set. So I'm just requesting that you would please make sure you enforce removing political signs equally and to everybody. Thank you all, and have a good night.
Thank you. I would, I'm done, that's okay. Because that is an issue, and it's one I've discussed with the city manager, I believe he really needs to address this at this time, if you
Yeah,
don't mind.
absolutely. So what we've done is, when anyone filing for office in the city of Port Huron received an informational packet when you took out your petitions. Inside that informational packet was a copy of our sign ordinance and the rules and regulations and placements of political signs within the road right-of-way, within city property. Since that time, we have seen an abundance of city signs from all candidates all over the city that are in the road right-of-way. They're causing visual obstructions. So under the law, our road right-of-way agent can go out there and begin collecting them. I still didn't want to do that, so if you believe in the last week, every single candidate who's up for election in the city of Port Huron received a letter from the city clerk per my directive with a letter reviewing the ordinance and what's allowed, also stating that this week we would begin sweeping up the signs that are in the road right-of-way and on city property. They would be held within City Hall, and you can come and collect them. The first round of that sweep began this morning in parts of the city. There will be another sweep tomorrow morning collecting the signs within the road right-of-way. All candidates have been we have signs from every single person running for office. No one specific group has been picked out. If you leave a sign is in the road right-of-way that should be collected, feel free to notify our Public Works office. So again, you received a packet with the documentations of our rules and regulations when you took your petition out for office. Every single candidate received an additional letter last week notifying them that we'd begin collecting signs this week. I wanted people to have the weekend to begin moving their signs back, and a lot of people have. But if your sign's picked up, no problems. You can come to City Hall and collect them. We have them safely secured downstairs in our bunker.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the city council this evening? Declare public comment closed. We will move on with the agenda. Next item is our consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Archibald. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lamb. Take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Items on the consent agenda, received and filed notification that Scott Ermy has been appointed by the city manager to the Port Huron Housing Commission to fill a vacancy expiring December 19th, 2021, correcting the previous approved application for an obsolete property rehabilitation exemption certificate for 306 through 310 Huron Avenue for 6 years per the State of Michigan Property Tax Exemption section, and given a second reading and enactment to an ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1, generally, Section 52-162 map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to rezone the property generally described as 1013 Baird Street from C1 zoning district, general business district, to R1 zoning district, which is single and two-family residential district. Those were the items that were on the consent agenda. From the city manager, number 1, please.
Accepting the bid from Bell Equipment in the amount of $58,500 for a 25 cubic yard leaf collector for use by the Parks and Forestry Division.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Archibald.
Madam Mayor, this is to replace a 27-year-old leaf collector that we use within our parks and our cemetery. Last year, the frame was breaking on the old one. It's been 27 years old, but our guys are pretty thrifty and patched it together to get another season out of it. It just simply won't make it another season. The reason why we did not take the low bid out of Canton, Ohio, was because it didn't meet our specifications for weight capacity and load capacity. And so the low bid that met our specifications was Bell Equipment. If you have any additional questions, I have Ben here as well from Forestry.
Does anyone have any questions or discussion on this item?
I would say congratulations to Ben on patching that thing together, getting 27 years out of it. Got our money's worth.
Great, thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Warden,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. From the city manager, number 2.
Accepting the bid from Jones Equipment Rental in the amount of $14,430.22 for a Kubota all-terrain commercial vehicle turf truck with a V-blade snow plow for use by the Parks and Forestry Division.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Archibald, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris?
Madam Mayor, this is for a vehicle, utility vehicle used with our parks both in the summertime for trash pickup, when we're emptying trash constantly throughout the summer, also used for snow plowing in city parks and sidewalks. Do appreciate Jones Equipment from Fort Gratiot for being the low bid.
Is there any questions or discussion?
Mayor Rapp,
Yes, Councilmember Archibald.
is this an outright purchase?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, they usually rent equipment. don't they?
It threw me for a minute.
Any other discussion?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris?
just a comment, I want to thank city manager and his staff for getting the inventory that we looked at today, because it's always interesting to see where this equipment's going, and it looks like this thing will get a lot of use, so I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank Ben. Ben worked hard this afternoon to get that inventory list in short order put together, so appreciate that, Ben.
We will take the vote.
Councilmember Warden,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3, please.
Accepting the quote from Rath Security in the amount of $6,374.50 for the purchase of a 9-foot tower with a blue beacon, strobe light, and camera to provide a safe exchange location within the South MOC parking lot.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, is there a second?
Second.
Matt,
Was that you?
Yes.
Well, we got it all over.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to have Chief Platzer come down and talk about this innovative program he's put together. While he's coming down, these are designated funding used out of the Enhanced 911 Fund, which is about $200,000 in there we have to be used for purchases specific to this, and this type of use. It cannot be used for general operating.
Mayor Up, City Council, City Manager Freed. Can I approach, give you some?
Sure.
Thank you.
What this is a safe exchange location. We're created to protect citizens regarding online transactions and child custody exchange. This allows people to show up at like a well-lit, well-monitored public location to complete the online transactions and the child custody exchange instead of like meeting at a parking lot or along a street somewhere. People that have the intention of committing like a crime under false pretenses usually won't show up at a police department parking lot to do the online transaction. What we're suggesting here is the South MOC lot will designate 2 parking spots closest to the road. It'll be underneath a street light, and then this 9-foot tower has the capability of videotaping. It has the capability of pushing a button, and it'll be a direct call to central dispatch, along with our duty command and records supervisor, indicating that there's an emergency out in the South MOC lot. And it has the blue strobe that will also be a visible deterrent also. To my knowledge, this is the first one in St. Clair County. The closest one that I'm aware of is up in Sanilac County at the Sanilac County Sheriff's Office. And even though this might not stop somebody from doing something, like I think if you read in the paper 2 weeks ago out in the county, where there was a child custody exchange, and there was a gentleman that was shot in the hand at Griswold and Range during that incident. Even though that might not have stopped it, this location would allow, the exchange to be videotaped and monitored, and would allow somebody to call directly to central dispatch if there was an issue. Like City Manager Freed indicated, that this is coming out of the 911 fund, which we have approximately $200,000 worth, that has to be spent on certain things, and this meets the criteria.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for the chief?
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
How often are we using this parking lot for exchange now? Do you know? Approximately.
Don't. I mean, occasionally we have somebody show up in the lobby that says we have to do the exchange for child custody. But I was talking to some people that indicate that they do online transactions, and they've stated, yeah, we've met in this parking lot, or we've met at this side of the street. I've heard stories of showing up at certain cities where they meet in the street and then they end up getting robbed. So this would be a location that they could come, it would be videotaped, we'd keep the video for approximately a week to 2 weeks, and then it would be a direct call to central dispatch and our duty command if there was an issue.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilmember Ruiz.
I didn't know this kind of exchange was going on in terms of transactions, and the timing of this is crazy because just yesterday my sister said, we were meeting about my mother and some circumstances, and she said, I have to go out to Sam's. I said, why? And she said, well, I've got this transaction I'm making. And I said, you're going to Sam's to do this? And it didn't sound like it was worth the gas doing it, but she was going, and I never gave it any thought about that this kind of thing is going on, and that's a good move, obviously.
Thank you.
Appreciate you doing that, and then especially with the about the custody issues, that's even better.
Correct.
Appreciate you taking that initiative.
Did you want?
I just think this is a great 21st century decision. Really, really awesome. Yep.
I agree. I didn't even know such a thing existed. It's great.
Mayor Rapp,
Councilmember
just a
Warden.
quick question. Again, I think these type of things are, to improve the safety, continue to allow, as the world changes with all the internet and different transactions and things going on. I just was wondering on this illustration here, where is the camera built into this?
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't know if but we're putting it under, placing it under one of the one of the lighted, direct lighted, couple parking spots there, so at least there's some light. So, yeah, I just, looking at this, I appreciate you bringing something like this forward and kind of see how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, can you give this to Ms. Smith?
Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. Items 4 and 5 are from the same vendor, and they're both for the police department through OUIL funds. So if there's no objections, we can take both bids together. Okay, go ahead.
Accepting the quote from On Duty Gear LLC in the amount of $33,250 for 19 Armor Express Torque Tactical Vest Carriers, Quantum 2 ballistic inserts for the use by the police department, and accepting the quote from On Duty Gear LLC in the amount of $11,250 for the purchase of 90 Level 4 hard armor standalone rifle plates for use by the police department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Archibald, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Lamb.
Madam Mayor, last meeting, Fire Chief Nicholson brought you Scuba Steve, not to be outdone. Chief Platzer has brought his own version. Sergeant Godwin will be helping demonstrate this evening the vest as well. Is he sergeant yet, or is that next week?
Next week.
Oh, next week, sorry. If this goes well.
If this goes well. There you go.
So what we have here is soon-to-be Sergeant Godwin. He's on our special response team. And currently, we have 11 officers on the team from the Port Huron Police Department. We have 3 members on the team from the Port Huron Fire Department as tactical medics. Working in conjunction with the Marysville Police Department, We have 1 officer and then 3 tactical medics also. So these vests right here would be used by the special response team when they're making high-risk entries into, say, like a narcotics search warrant, a barricaded subject, hostage rescue. It provides all the protection that they need. It's bigger than our soft body armor, but it covers everything, vital organs. It's got the arm protectors here that protect the arms in case it gets shot in the side. And our current body armor that we have for our tactical team expired this year. So that's why for the purchase of the heavy tactical vest. What we're looking at also, in every patrol car, we have these ballistic carriers. And in case of an active shooter, barricaded gunman, the officers can quickly deploy these and put them on. Go ahead, if you just want to pull it on really quick. It goes on that quickly, and what it does is there's hard, heavy plates inside here that protects the front and the back, which is the most vital organs. And in these carriers, what we can do is we can carry a tourniquet, the extra magazines, a first aid kit, and that. And what we found out is that our original plates that were purchased was a level 3A. And what that means is it provides us protection, but it doesn't provide us protection for armored piercing rounds like a 223, 308. So what we're hoping is the 90 purchase of these plates, and I'll pass it around, they weigh about 15 to 17 pounds. And we need them for the front and the back for protection. Please don't drop those, if you drop them, I buy that. Hold on this. But each patrol car, each undercover vehicle, each administrative vehicle, each detective would have this vest carrier inside there with the plates so that can be easily put on and provide us additional protection against rifle rounds. And we see in the paper every day that when we go to these type of situations, that officers are going up with against suspects that are sometimes, unfortunately, better armed than we are.
Yeah. It's a lot of weight to carry around.
Yes, it is.
Oh. Very nice.
So those are the 2 different things we're looking at. It's like I said, one for the SRT team, and then one, the plates would go directly to everybody in the department.
Every officer would have one of those on.
They will have access
In
to
their
them in
car.
their vehicles, in
In
the
their
truck, their
vehicles.
patrol cars.
Yeah.
Chief, can you briefly talk about, a lot of people don't know that that body armor expires. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so our body armor is only guaranteed for 5 years. So every 5 years, we have to not only replace our soft body armor that the officers wear, but we also have to replace our heavy body armor. So the manufacturer will only guarantee this stuff for 5 years. Now these plates, if they're not damaged, they're not dropped, and if they're shot, we'll replace them. But they're guaranteed up to 10 years. So that's why we have to replace it every 5 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody got any questions for the chief?
Yeah, Mayor Up.
Councilmember Warden?
Yeah, Chief, just 2 things on your body armor that the officers, you guys are wearing right now, and to see Officer Goodwin put on that, I think the quick one, that one is the one that you're going to have those plates additional inside of?
Correct, and there'll also be plates in this heavy vest also.
And when you wear the torque one, are you guys putting it over top of your regular body armor like that? Or is it something that you say, hey, we're going out, do you have to switch what you guys currently have underneath, or are you putting it right over top?
For the SRT team, the special response team, if they were going to do an op, they would take off their soft body armor and just put these on.
Okay.
Because if you get too much on,
Yeah.
you can't move and you can't operate.
That's what I was wondering, yeah. So that one will have, again, additional protection, but those heavy plates in them as well, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And they'll help out too, so you can carry extra equipment, like extra rounds, first aid equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to protect our guys. So my comment is, again, appreciate you guys bringing this stuff to us, putting the time in to see what's out there in the industry, and, as engineering, the more flexibility for them to be able to get around and also protect them. And also, I think these are out of the forfeiture fund, so again, that's something that is directly, it's good for us to see that those dollars are available to spend for these type of purchases. So I'm in full support, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Well, I'm glad you're going to stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your promotion.
Tomorrow.
Pass.
I will take the vote.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. Item 6.
Accepting the quote from BOS Structures and Events in the amount of $17,433 for the Chili Fest 2019 tent rental and authorizing any entertainment agreements and pass-through activities exceeding the purchasing threshold as long as sufficient funding is anticipated or committed.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Archibald.
Madam Mayor, this is very similar to the resolution you passed last year, also similar to the resolutions you passed for Rock on the River. There are just certain contracts and agreements to pull these events off. They cannot be delayed 30 days or 14 days until a council meeting, especially when they're negotiating contracts. This will give Natalie and Nancy the authority to negotiate and execute the needed contracts to pull off Chili Fest. And they will also be raising the sponsorship money to cover the costs like they typically do.
Thank you. Is there any discussion, questions?
Just a
Councilmember
question.
Harris.
Is this during one of the Silver Stick weekends?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor Rapp?
Councilmember Warden.
I just have one question on the tent rental. I see that there was three, really, I don't know if it's three bidders, but two of them didn't meet specifications. I'm just wondering what caused the other ones not to be able to provide what we were looking for? or
Yeah,
at least
absolutely. On
offered
the
up?
first page, on the third paragraph, it says all three vendors responded with only one able to provide all the requested amenities, which are the heat and all that stuff, so.
Okay, so it wasn't the size of the tent, just the other things that go along with it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor Rapp?
Councilmember Archibald.
I'm assuming storage is the reason we haven't looked into possibly just purchasing one that we could use for this event every year and other events as well?
That, they're remarkably expensive, and the time to put it up,
Thank you.
so kind of combination of all those.
Anything else? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. That concludes our agenda. Is there anything else to come before the council? Councilmember Harris.
Just one thing, it's going to be a couple weeks before we meet again, but I just kind of remind everybody the Crosstown Rivalry will be October 5th out
Yes.
at Memorial Stadium. And it's a great time, fill the park. I just hope we see a lot of people there.
Got my tickets today?
Me too.
Yep. There's nothing else?
Madam Mayor,
Oh.
just one last thing. Unlike your city manager, we have a very humble mayor who doesn't like to brag. But I just want to take a moment let the community know, because she won't tell you, but our mayor has been serving on the board of the Michigan Municipal League. She's also been serving with the Michigan Association of Mayors, which is two critically important organizations that give the city of Port Huron a seat at the table in policymaking in Lansing, utilizing the lobbyist and the influence of these two organizations, whether that be revenue sharing, whether that be protections for police and fire, or whether that be reforms to unfunded liabilities. Having a voice in Lansing and being able to sit down and get our message out is critically important. Madam Mayor, Rep has been serving honorably in both those two organizations. She was the board member for the MML, I believe a couple years ago, stepped down after your term. Her colleagues, which are elected mayors from all across the state of Michigan, a nonpartisan group, have elected her this past week to serve as the vice president for the Michigan Association of Mayors. And that's very beneficial. It's a huge honor to be elected by much larger cities' mayors, cast their vote for you to serve in that capacity. But it also gives our city a much-needed voice in statewide policy making that directly affects our citizens. And so I was very proud to be able to say I was with Mayor Rep at that conference. I was the gentleman who accompanied Mayor Rep
There you
to
go.
Grand Rapids. And so I thank you for your service, and it's a huge win for our communities. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anything else to come before the council? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.